Welcome, everybody, back to Anonymous Addiction Deprogramming Podcast. My name is Bobby C. I'll be your host today. Don't forget to subscribe, please. Builds the channel. I don't like to call people followers. Just check me out. I got some information I want to put out. Today, I want to talk about the DSM. We're at the DSM-5. Yeah, look, you can download it. Yeah, that's that's the information on the DSM-5. You can go print it out, download it if you'd like. I'll keep it over here. Follow the power, connect the dots, put the pieces together, starting with, we all know Rockefeller's involvement. Okay. Way back then, AMA, the American Medical Association, started back in 1847. By Nathan Smith Davis. Look them up, check them out. And then, of course, we know the involvement with Rockefeller in the 1900s. This is before Prohibition. This is before the Depression. Before he took over Alcoholics Anonymous and created that Alcohol Foundation. He was involved with all the medical industry, everything, the pharmaceutical companies, all the medical industry, 1900s. So check out the AMA. The AMA controls the DSM. The AMA, when was that started? The AMA was started in, I just said it, 1847. Check out the APA. That's the Americans Psychiatric Association. So you'll see it'll be all tied in. Then you could check out the World Health Organization. The APA came about in 1892. You're talking the AMA, and then the APA, which was the American Psychiatric Association. They're in charge of the DSM. All the psychiatrists, they're in charge of it. They publish it. They get in the DSM, the APAs, the psychiatrists get around in a circle, create another disorder, another disease, pump it out to the pharmaceutical companies, which they get scientists to create these new pharmaceutical drugs for the new upcoming disorder and disease. That's what they wanted to create in the very beginning with Alcoholics Anonymous. They brought it all from the 1800s, the disease concept, and they pitched it. They kept on pitching it. So Marty Mann pitched it back then. Silkworth told Bill to, pass on this alcoholism word. Marty Mann wanted to, this is after Rockefeller's deal, but after Rockefeller took over Alcoholics Anonymous. The AMA, complete control. They wanted complete control over the medical field. Rockefeller did. He wanted complete control. That's why the Abraham Flexner, he submitted a report to Congress in 1910. He conducted this natural healing. He said that the conduct of the natural healing modalities were unscientific and quackeries. That's why they kind of dismissed chiropractic, neuropathic, homeopathic, holistic medicine, herbal medicine, all the allopathic medicine, kind of made it quackeries, and then they started to get into medicine, pharmaceutical drugs, and different types of medicine. Rockefeller was with that, from the very beginning. The AMA, even when it was started, that controls, that's where all the money goes. That's where all the money comes from, all the doctors. The doctors pay the money to the AMA to be in the medical association. Scientific advancement, standards for medical education, medical ethics, improved public health. Largest source of income is from the royalties, which are primarily the fees paid by the doctors, the groups, the hospitals, the insurance to use their CPA coding. It's all about insurance. Do you ever go back in a hospital's rooms? There's like 3 doctors, but there's computers with people on the computers all day long, just coding for the specific diagnostic codes that they need to get paid by, insurance companies. It was all about getting from here to there where we could collect the money where it's covered by insurance. So the APA controls the DSM. Here's the National Drug Council strategy has recognized substance use disorder as both a brain disease and a medical condition. The stigma rooted in the misperception that a substance use disorder is a personal moral failing rather than a brain disease. They didn't like it. It was just like Marty Mann when she pushed out all the education with Brinkley and Smithers and Jeranek. All the they wanted to educate. That's why Rockefeller got into all the educational. He started, let's see, when did he start the schools? Rockefeller University, 1901. Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research was founded. It's now called the Rockefeller University. 1910, Rockefeller Foundation. In 1910, that's when the Flexner report was published. So you got to connect the dots, check everything out. Here we go. So it was just like moral state. Look, I have to admit, I had a problematic drinking and drug use way back then. It was a habitual habit. They tried to stigmatize me. No, they wanted to take it, say it wasn't a moral. It was a moral for me. It was moral. It was in my mind. It wasn't something wrong. I didn't have these defects. It was just my thinking, okay, and my behavior. I needed to correct my thinking and behavior and make changes, which I had I found out the power of choice. I could make some changes and get the desired results through cause and effect, which, what I wanted. And, what was no disease. They just put that label on to me. That's more of a stigma than anything. I never wanted to be called alcoholic. I never wanted to be labeled with this disease. They gave it to me. Ask yourself, who diagnosed you with this so-called disease called alcoholism? What? I never told my medical doctors that I ever was labeled. They're going to label me, and then I'm going to pass it on to the doctor and say I have this disease of alcoholism. They're going to send me to these programs because it says right here, okay, without treatment or engagement in recovery activities, which they mean programs. This is from the DSM-5. Without treatment or engagement in recovery activities, addiction is progressive. Remember that? Is progressive and can result in disability or permanent death. Yes, look, drinking huge amounts for a long period of time of alcohol or drugs creates disease in our bodies. It's not a disease. It can create diseases in our body, cirrhosis, mental disorders. It could create, heart disease. It could create diseases, but we have the ability through holistically, through our minds, achieving through harm reduction or whatever other methods you want to use to this progression. They told me years ago, hey, Bobby, you got this disease. It's called alcoholism, and it's progressing in your body even though you stopped drinking. You can have 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 20 years, and it's progressed from way back then to then. And if you pick up a drink, it's like you never stopped. That's psychologically trauma bonding, okay? That's psychologically, it's crazy to even put that out to another human being. Do you just, that's what they told me back then. No wonder why, I was scared shitless because of the fear, guilt, and shame that they put on me to continue to go to meetings and listen to traditions. Uh, you surely will die. Institutions, jail, or death. And it's progressive. That's just, just imagine these young, poor kids. Look, if you need detox, go into a detox. If you're going into rehab because you're forced into coming out into rehab, check me out. If you can get on a computer, I don't think so because they won't let you see any outside things. And if you have to go to a meeting, go to an alternative meeting, maybe Smart Recovery or Recovery Dorm, just in the beginning to get out of the 12-step modality because they're going to pump the 12-step modality into you no matter where you go. Okay. The 12-step paradigm. We're going way beyond the 12-step paradigm, escaping the recovery, addiction recovery matrix, because that's what it is. And the healthcare industry, the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, it's all cult. Okay. Now, I'm not saying parts of it isn't good. Great. Okay. Surgeons save lives. When I talk, I'm not talking about every aspect, everything. I'm talking about the majority of it. I'm talking about the cult aspect of it, the indoctrination and the program of it. AMA. Here's listen to this here. This is crazy. Now, the APA is in charge of the DSM, right? This is from the DSM-5 I'm reading. I'm not making this stuff up. Now listen to this. The word addiction is derived from the Latin word addict. Don't use label, please. Addict, stop calling yourself addicts for life. Stop calling yourself alcoholics. Stop using the word alcoholism. Stop using all these words. They're just bonding you. It's to slavery. They're making you a slave to the recovery trapped industry matrix. That's all it is a bonding. Listen, definition of the word addict. Typically referred to the bond of slavery. It's exactly what these poor people, poor us, poor me, even though I'm thankful I was deprogrammed all along in there. I didn't buy everything in there, but I was in. I had a cult mentality, yeah. And I was bonded. I was a slave. I let one, they call them addiction. I let one habitual habit and I got another one. Alcoholics Anonymous became a habit. It's an addiction. Going to any of these programs is an addiction. It's a bond of slavery. That's why they want you to keep on raising your hand, picking up chips, picking up keychains, and what do they call keychains? I see people with 10, 15 of them. Keep on picking up chips. When you relapse, you got to go get another one. Stop it, please, man. Don't. Okay, listen. Typically referred to the bond of slavery that lenders imposed upon delinquency debtors or victims on their convicted aggressors. Such individuals were mandated to be addicted to the service of the person to whom they owed restitution. Does that remind you of anything? I have to give my service to Alcoholics Anonymous. Servitude, slavery. Alcoholics Anonymous talks about it constantly. You must give it away. It's a cult mentality. It's the group think. It's that group conscious, which is a bunch of crap because it's all the elder statesmen, the older people that are pumping out repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill, or also the basic tool used for brainwashing. Okay. Bond to slavery. Such individuals were mandated to be addicted to the service of the person to whom they owed restitution. The word was used to describe devotion to someone or something. Devotion to the big book, Bill Wilson, even though Look, Rockefeller created this whole thing, designed it. He brought his associates in, took over. They were the top trustees in the very top of the pyramid for years until they seen it was working. That's when Marty Mann, Rockefeller already took control of the medical industry. He wanted to take control over the alcohol, the drug, all the other parts of it too. So that's why he hijacked this. Bond, right? AMA dispenses money to political campaigns, and it's one of the nation's wealthiest, next to the alcohol and drug, who contribute, who are leading lobbying forces. AMA. So AMA controls the codes of medical ethics. Of course, they make everything professional. You can't do it unless you're a professional paying money. It's all about the education. Rockefeller wanted to control the education, the training, the colleges, the universities through Rockefeller medicine. Repetition. It says right here at the end in DSA, addiction becomes a contemporary term to describe some previously known as a habit. Yeah. This is page 3 of the DSM-5. Historically, addiction became the contemporary term to describe what was previously known as a habit. Okay. Habit is defined as a regular or repetitive behavior or tendency, and is derived from the Latin word habitus. Habitus. I don't know. Okay, let me have a little sip of this and we'll continue. Thank you for being patient with me. Okay, so here's Marty Mann. We get to Marty Mann. Rockefeller controls it already. He's got the control. So Marty hooks up. Bill's sponsoring Marty. Bill's pumping out the Silkworth is telling him to pump out the disease concept. Marty is the promoter. She gets involved with the kook E.M. Jeranik, and then hooks up with the Smithers. Okay, and let's see where then the Smithers come in. Let's see where the Smithers came in at. Yeah, did you know the Smithers? Christopher Smithers. Try to look him up. Founder of IBM, one of the founders of IBM. That's where all this Brinkley Smithers money came from. The founders of IBM. I'll leave it off at that. I'm going to just do a short one. You know, Marty Mann, he just kept on pumping the same horn. It's not a moral problem. It's a disease. You have no control over it. Oh, thank you. I have no control over this. The disease makes me do it, and I'm an asshole, and I treat my family like shit, and I go and drink and drug because I have this disease, and I'm not responsible for it, actually. Man, I'm so glad I found that out. So I go in Alcoholics Anonymous. They tell me I'm not responsible for it, but I'm not responsible for it, but they tell me it works if you work it. Then you are responsible until you get to where it says don't think and don't drink, go to meetings, and give your life and will over to the care of God, your sponsor, and AA. But it works if you work it. Okay. So I'm going to stop it at there. And we're going to catch you. Don't forget to check me out on I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, X, and right here on YouTube. We'll see you later. Bobby C. Take care now.